Well, welcome to the 700 Club. More evidence of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, that's UNRWA, collaborating with Hamas. Israel has released video of Hamas terrorists operating next to UN vehicles at an UNRWA facility in Rafah.
Meanwhile, reports are circulating that the Biden administration is set to send more than $1 billion in weapons and ammunition to Israel. Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem.
On Israel's 76th Independence Day, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with wounded IDF soldiers. He said he was impressed by the message that several soldiers gave him: continue until the end, until a decisive victory over Hamas. He also said October 7th was a watershed moment in Israel's history.
On Simchat Torah, we endured an event on a biblical scale. Our enemies attacked us, exactly on the day when the people of Israel celebrate the completion of study from Genesis to Deuteronomy and start again.
As Israel celebrated a sober Independence Day, some positive news came with reports that the Biden administration is going ahead with a $1.2 billion arms package for Israel, including tank ammunition and mortar rounds. Last week, Biden announced the U.S. withheld a shipment of bombs to protest Israel's plans to invade Rafah. The operation to eliminate Hamas in Rafah continues at a steady pace as the IDF slowly advances against the terror group's last battalions there. Hundreds of thousands of Gazans are fleeing the war zone. Israel has long accused the United Nations Relief and Works Agency, UNRWA, of collaborating with Hamas. Now it's releasing video of Hamas terrorists operating next to UN vehicles at an UNRWA facility in Rafah.
Today we revealed unusual documentation of armed terrorists next to UN vehicles that were located a few days ago, carrying out shootings inside the compound of UNRWA of the UN in East Rafah.
Foreign Minister Israel Katz said on X, the UN can't hide the truth. Quote, UNRWA is an arm of the terrorist organization Hamas. At a ceremony marking Israel's Independence Day, President Isaac Herzog emphasized recovering the hostage in Gaza is a top priority for the Jewish people.
These days we are full of the pain of bereavement, pain for the wounded, the pain for civilians uprooted from their homes, the pain for the hostages. I reiterate that there is no greater mitzvah than redeeming the captives.
But the fate of the 132 hostages still in Hamas' hands seems precarious. Mediators in Qatar say negotiations to reach a ceasefire and free hostages appear to be at a stalemate. On Tuesday, Hamas fired rockets into southern Israel, including Sderot, where thousands of Israelis marched calling for Israel to control Gaza after the war.
We want to tell everybody in Israel and everybody in the world that Gaza is very, very important to us, and it has to be, again, in Israeli hands, because if it won't be in Israeli hands, we won't finish the things that we started doing in this war.
Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Oh, there's a few, just take away the fact that Hamas is still firing rockets into Israel. It's absolutely incredible that the world would be calling on ceasefire and Israel be the target of that call. What about Hamas? Can they please stop firing rockets? Can they please release all of the hostages? Can they surrender? What they did was absolutely horrific. What they're continuing to do, absolutely horrific. Israel has no choice. If you're firing rockets into that country, the country has to respond. They just can't say, well, I'm sorry, our hands are tied by international opinion. They are going to have to go in. In this battle of ideologies, and it is a battle of ideologies, you're not going to win that battle with arms. Now, if they're firing rockets at you, you have to stop that. But the ideology has to be addressed head on. Currently, we're not doing a good job on the PR side of things. We're sending very mixed messages around the world that we're going to withhold weapons for Israel. Now we're sending weapons to Israel. We're going to take UNRWA's funding away. That happened in the Trump administration. President Trump said this is ridiculous. They're aiding terrorists. They're training in hate ideology. Our taxpayer dollars shouldn't go to that. Very first week of the Biden administration, all of that funding restored. And now we're seeing that absolutely UNRWA is part of Hamas. They've been training children in schools to hate Jews. That's why you have a Hamas militant on a cell phone on October 7th calling his parents and just bragging about how many Jews he killed and them celebrating. It's an ideology that fuels this. In our struggle, let us stand strong with Israel. Let's stand strong against anti-Semitism, against this ideology of hate that says from the river to the sea. They want to wipe Israel out. They want to commit genocide. They want to kill every single Jew. Let us stand on the side of Israel in this struggle and be very clear. This ideology cannot survive. And especially it won't survive on our tax dollars. It's time to absolutely end all aid to UNRWA. Absolutely stand with Israel. We stand with them until this struggle is over.